CBT News is expanding its reach like never before and is launching in over 70 million broadcasting households. Whether you have Roku, Apple TV, or a mobile device running on Android or iOS, you can now enjoy our engaging, in-depth interviews with dealers, automakers, trade associations, best-selling authors, motivational speakers, and so much more, whenever and wherever you are. Simply search CBT News in the App Store of your smart TV. Welcome to CBT News with Shyann Malone.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to CBT News. I'm Shyann Malone. Thanks so much for joining us. On today's show, we are joined by Shyann Vaughn, owner and CEO of Vaughn Automotive. But first, here's a look at today's top automotive industry stories.
Ford has temporarily suspended 9,700 union workers while it resolved supplier challenges disrupting the 2024 F-150 and F-150 Lightning manufacturing. The issue caused closures at two factories in Missouri and Michigan, lasting 6 to 7 days. Ford has declined to identify the parts supplier behind the momentary shutdown, but has confirmed that both facilities have been reopened with all employees back on production lines. Ford recently slashed production targets for the F-150 Lightning due to slower than expected sales. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell confirmed that the economy remains on track to avoid a recession and allowed for interest rate cuts later in the year, saying, quote, "I do think the economy is in a good place, and there's every reason to think that it can get better," end quote. The remarks given during an interview on CBS News come several days after the central bank's decision to keep rates level in the wake of surprise employment gains throughout January. Stellantis leadership has dismissed rumors of a potential consolidation with French automaker Renault, following a media report claiming France's government has weighed a merger between the two companies. Stellantis chairman John Elkann noted that there was, quote, "no plan under consideration regarding merger operations with other manufacturers," end quote. The comments arrived shortly after the postponement of Renault's efforts to take its EV subsidiary, Ampere, public. Stellantis has poised itself as the French manufacturer's primary rival since its own creation from the 2021 Fiat Chrysler merger.
Don't go anywhere. Coming up, we have Shyann Vaughn. He's here to discuss new car inventory, electric vehicle growth, and shifting consumer behaviors. We'll be right back with that.
CBT News is expanding its reach like never before and is launching in over 70 million broadcasting households. Whether you have Roku, Apple TV, or a mobile device running on Android or iOS, you can now enjoy our engaging, in-depth interviews with dealers, automakers, trade associations, best-selling authors, motivational speakers, and so much more, whenever and wherever you are. Simply search CBT News in the App Store of your smart TV.
Some of the trends that we see unfolding, one of them is a resurgence of new car inventory. The industry is seeing on average 60 and 90-day inventory levels now. What are you seeing at your dealerships in your market?
Yeah, Toyota. Yeah, thank you. Toyota is definitely on the lower end of the spectrum from an inventory standpoint. Inventory levels across the board are rising, and they're rising fast. That's not to say that volume isn't there, right? I mean, we're not lacking the volume, which is driving inventories. Really, the manufacturer is getting back to core, core production, and so we're seeing better inventories, and it's better for the customer. I mean, let's be honest. The days of COVID and the inventory situations during COVID, it just was not a very good customer situation. So, from what we see at domestics, I do not own a domestic store, but domestics and some of the other, OEMs, their day supplies are definitely rising 60 to 90 days, things of that nature. What we're seeing on the ground from a Toyota perspective is probably closer to 30 to 45 days.
Okay.
And we really would like to see that continue. That's a really good day supply for us. It's enough to have options for the customers when they walk in and want to see a product. But it's a perfect balance from a floor plan expense standpoint to keep our expenses down.
So you're kind of right where you want to be at this point.
We are, yeah.
Talk to us about the shift in interest towards EVs and hybrids. Are you seeing that from your customers? Does it kind of just depend on the area?
There's no doubt that Tesla has done an amazing job jumping into the EV and creating a market for themselves. If you look back to news articles in 2021 and 2022, Toyota really, and Akio specifically, took some really heavy hits from the media and certain government agencies of why Toyota was not jumping into the EV market. And what you're seeing today is almost a backlash of consumer decisions. The key is options, not obligations, right? Mm-hmm. And when you have an EV, you are obligated to one source of fuel, and that is power. So, when we look at hybrid, and specifically plug-in hybrid, PHEV, that's really where Toyota shines and is moving towards 100% hybrid in the lineup. And you're seeing Ford and some of the other domestics follow suit, right? There you can see the news articles coming out almost daily about pullback of not only EV manufacturing, but the investment in EV manufacturing plants.
And be sure to watch this full interview right here at cbtnews.com. Well, that does it for our show today, but we do invite you right back here tomorrow morning on cbtnews.com. And remember, you can stay up to date with the most recent news and trends influencing the retail automotive industry by following us on TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, and X, formerly known as Twitter. I'm Shyann Malone. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. You have a good one.
CBT News, your #1 resource for auto industry news and content. CBT News is expanding its reach like never before and is launching in over 70 million broadcasting households. Whether you have Roku, Apple TV, or a mobile device running on Android or iOS, you can now enjoy our engaging, in-depth interviews with dealers, automakers, trade associations, best-selling authors, motivational speakers, and so much more, whenever and wherever you are. Simply search CBT News in the App Store of your smart TV